You will have seen already that I have cleared out my digital TBR. I did a cull of all the books I just wasn't interested in anymore. And now it's time to do it with my physical TBR. Now, a lot of the books I'm not sure about are ones that I've just seen in charity shops and picked up without really knowing a lot about them, just like sort of blurb or cover pickups. And a lot of them I have bought quite recently. But I am going through such a shitty reading slump that I just need to make sure that I'm interested in what's on my TBR. So I'm going to read the first chapters of all of these books, and I'm going to decide based on that first chapter whether or not they're staying on my TBR or whether they are just gonna have to go. I will not be doing this for the ones that are like next in a series because that doesn't make sense to me. But for all the ones that I could just pick up and read right now, we're gonna do it. So I'm gonna show you everything that's on my physical TBR right now. It's not as much as it could be, so I'm quite proud of that. Let's start at the bottom. I have got Dragon Quest by Emma Caffrey. I bought this when I was halfway through the first book and thought I was enjoying it, and then they handled sexual assault really, really badly, and I was like, oh, I've just spent £2 on this book. I'm not going to read this. I'm not interested in it anymore. I knew before I got home after purchasing this that this would be going back to a charity shop, so that can just go straight on the pile to get rid of. I've got The Fascination by Essie Fox. This was from a video where I had to, on my Tarot TBR challenge, where I had to pick up a paperback from a table in a chain bookstore, and this is what I ended up with. This is about Dr. Somerwell's Museum of Anatomy in London. It's about like country fairgrounds and sort of it's in Victorian England, a world of rural fairgrounds and glamorous London theatres, a world of dark streets and deadly obsessions. God, that font is hard to read. I'm not entirely sure what the plot is of this. It's just very shiny. And I had to pick a book, so I picked a book. We'll see. Then we've got Bug Boys by Laura Natska. I'm quite optimistic I'm going to enjoy this one because it's only a graphic novel, but it's a graphic novel about bug boys. I genuinely don't know more than that. I've got The Hexologists by Josiah Bancroft. This has been on my TBR for a while. Couldn't tell you what it was about. It's a mystery. I usually like mysteries. We'll see how this goes. I'll tell you more about it once I've read the first chapter, because I'll be honest, I'm not really sure. Morgan Is My Name by Sophie Keach. I am quite excited to read this one, so I think this is probably going to be a keeper, but I will still read the first chapter. It's a retelling about Morgan Le Fay, basically, and she is one of my favourite characters in mythological history and that period of time, so I am quite excited to read that, and I've had nothing but good things. This is The Bloody Chamber, Wise Children and Fireworks by Angela Carter. I have read The Bloody Chamber. I borrowed it from the library, and the other two I have not read, so I'll give them a go, but I do quite like Angela Carter. So she, I've just finished her Book of Fairy Tales. That was really good. Hogfather, Terry Pratchett. I will always give Terry Pratchett a go. I generally enjoy his work. I might have already read Hogfather. I can't remember though. Interesting Times. I'm collecting these editions of Terry Pratchett, so I may not enjoy it, but I'll probably keep it even if I don't. Oh, Eric, Terry Pratchett. I feel like I probably won't enjoy this one, but again, I want to own all of Terry Pratchett's works at some point. Jim Butcher, Stormfront. This is the first book in the Dresden Files, which I've heard a lot of people say a lot of good things about. I am optimistic that I will like it, but I'm also aware that it was published in 2000. It's an old book. What I want is for this to fill the gap that my Anita Blake by Laurel K. Hamilton books stopped filling. I want supernatural detective cases that don't lapse into erotica. So this sounds like it could be good. I'll give it a go. I have got The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. I've already read The Hitchhiker's Guide and I really enjoyed it, so I'm expecting to like this one. Small Gods, Terry Pratchett. Again, it's Terry Pratchett. I'll give it a go. Oh no, it's George!
Where do you want me?
Or wherever you want. I'm still gonna talk to a camera. Bren! I've got A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. I've heard lots of good things about this. It's a gay couple who bring a plant to life in the form of their daughter or something. Not quite sure. We'll give it a go. I've got Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. Now I've heard, I think it was Sid from Bookworm that said good things about this. It's not my usual kind of book, so I am interested to see if I still want to read it after the first chapter. I believe it's about a serial killer's victims, but they don't mention who the serial killer is. I think it's Dharma though. Not sure. Don't know my serial killers very well. Another Terry Pratchett, Pyramids. I've got The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I picked this up because it was there. I have read Neil Gaiman before. I really enjoyed Stardust, but I do want to read more. I'm not sure if this is what I want to read more of, so we'll give it a go and see how I feel. I've got The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I really want to read his new one, I'm Afraid You Got Dragons, that's coming out soon. And I thought I'd read this because this is supposed to be a classic fantasy story and I don't read enough about unicorns. I've got The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. I also have The Appeal by Janice Hallett. So Leanne from Literary Diversions says a lot of good things about Janice Hallett. So I picked these up in a charity shop. We'll give them a go. They are murder mysteries, but told in, what's the word? Multimedia perspective. So they've got like news clippings and podcast entries and all of that sort of stuff. The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly. This another one from a charity shop. I'm not entirely sure what the blurb is because there's a giant sticker over some of it, but something about a family fortune and dangerous obsession and a family reunion. So, you know, we'll see. It wasn't on my TBR when I bought it. Then I have The Falconer. This will be a reread because I still have this on my series tracker. I have only read the first one and there are either 3 or 4 books in the series, I can't remember, but if I don't love the reread of this, I will just take the series off my tracker because it's been a long time since I've read it and I'm pretty sure my reading tastes have changed. We'll give it a go and we will see. I've got The Watchmaker of Filigree Street by Natasha Pulley. George got me this as a little present and I can't remember what it's about, so we'll give it a go. I've got The Wolf in the Water and The Gilded King. This is a double-sided sampler from Josie Jeffrey. I mean, I should probably just read the damn thing instead of the whole chapter. And there's a bookmark there as well. But it's basically samples of 2 of her books. I've got The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This is the second one in, it's not The Wolf and the Woodsman, The Bear and the Nightingale trilogy. So again, we'll give this a go, see if I still want to read the second book in the series. The last ones, I've got The Golem and the Jinni. This was given to me by a friend. I have no idea what it's about, but it sounds kind of cool. I've got Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. This was a prompt for a Tarot TBR video that I have now scrapped because it just wasn't going very well, but I still have the book and I still haven't read it. I still kind of want to give it a go, but I'm not super optimistic I'm going to enjoy it because time travel isn't always my thing. And then I have The Golden Enclaves and The Last Graduate by Naomi Novik. Obviously I will only read Enclaves if I like Last Graduate. I think I've read Graduate before, but I can't remember how far in I got. I've never read Enclaves, so this is like my reread of that series. And then I have Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. This is a memoir graphic novel, which I was also prompted to read in the scrapped Tarot TBR video, but I am still kind of interested to read this. So I don't know if it has chapters. Doesn't look like it has chapters, so I'll probably just read the first 50 pages or something like that. That's a lot, 25. We'll see. The first chunk. Oh, I forgot about these. I've also got Death of a Bookseller, which I got for £1 from the charity shop because it doesn't have its dust jacket. This is about booksellers in a shop and then one of them might have stumbled across a true crime situation. I'm really not very sure what it's about, but it was £1 and it was on my digital TBR, so I bought it. I have 2 more Hitchhiker's books, but obviously I won't read them until I've finished Restaurant at the End of the Universe. And I have Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray, which is the 3rd book in the Diviners series. I do need to get onto this because I finished the second one a while ago, but they are really chunky books and I do quite enjoy the audiobooks, so we'll see. We'll see how I go on. But there we go. That is everything on my physical TBR. I will catch up with you once I've read the first chapters of all of them and we'll see which ones I'm getting rid of. I forgot some books, so they were sitting on the side because I've been taking pictures of them. I have The Ambassador's Mission by Trudy Canavan. I think I listened to the beginning of the audiobook of this when I was like 16. I don't remember much, but I want to try and give it a go. I've got Blood in the Mist by Hope Merlis. I don't know how you say that. This is another classic fantasy about fairies, but it's a Shakespearean tragicomedy, murder mystery and multifaceted allegory all in one, and a damn good story too, apparently. Mary Gentle says. I don't know who that is, but that does sound good. I've got Alana, Song of the Lioness by Tamora Pierce. I have read this. This would be a reread, but it's being re-released in paperback in, I want to say August, and Fantasy Hive are doing a little piece on it, so I want to try and reread this before that comes out because I think I have things to say about it. We'll see. I'm not sure if I want to reread it. I'm like I'm in two minds. And then I have 5 Broken Blades by May Corland. I was really looking forward to this, and then I had heard a lot of people say a lot of very underwhelming and bad things about it. So hopefully the first chapter will give me a good idea. But that is it. That is all the books. Now I'm done. So I've read the first chapter of all those books, and this big stack here is what we're getting rid of. Yeah, that was gonna happen. Okay, first off, turns out I do not vibe with mixed media books. I'm so unused to reading anything but prose, and it all being in texts and emails and email templates and snippets from brochures and magazines and anything like that. I find that really hard to stick together. In my brain, it's very piecemeal, and I was really struggling with both of these. I gave both of these a go. And I'm really annoyed because this one's about a cult, and I like culty books. This just isn't it. So I'm going to pass them on, and someone else will enjoy them. Now I'm quite sad about this one. This is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. This just really wasn't working for me. I got quite far into this. Okay, I got quite far into the first chapter of this, and it wasn't hitting with me. This is about a unicorn who discovers that the world has changed, and she goes on a quest to work out where she fits in that world and discovering the truth of the world now. It's a classic book, but although it was relatively easy to read, I didn't find myself vibing with the unicorn as the character. I really wasn't interested in her journey, and it did feel like it was going to be one of those books that's just one long journey with little things that happen in between, and I just don't get on very well with that. So this is going to someone else who will enjoy it more. The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I prefer Neil Gaiman's fantasy. This was too contemporary for me. This was too, like, literary. I just really wasn't enjoying it. I don't think this is the Neil Gaiman for me. I'm going to try Neverwhere, I think. That might be more up my street. The Falconer. I should have left this one alone. I have read this already. I think I said in the beginning I was going to reread it to then finish the series, but I am now over it. This is not for me. This story is just too young for me now, and I don't enjoy it. I'm not going to force myself to read a whole series. I enjoy this book. I will keep this book because I enjoyed this book, but I will not be continuing this series. The Skeleton Key by Erin Kelly. This is another charity shop one. I thought the prologue was interesting, so then I carried on reading chapter 1 after reading the prologue. Sorry, I bit my tongue earlier, and now it's not working properly. It's also quite late. It's been a long day. But then chapter 1 was really uninteresting, and I skim read a little bit of chapter 2 as well, and that wasn't doing it for me either, so I am going to pass this on. The Fascination by Essie Fox. This is a new book. Like, I bought this new. I really wasn't vibing. This is very much a like people with disabilities are freaks kind of book, and from what I read in the first chapter, I don't trust this book to do a good job of handling that content, and that's basically it. That's why I don't want to read this book. I don't think it's going to do a good job. I think it's going to make me uncomfortable, and I don't think it's going to handle its content well. So I'm going to pass this on. Oh, Wise Children and Fireworks by Angela Carter. Now I am going to keep this copy of the book because it's got the Bloody Chamber in it, and I have read the Bloody Chamber. I couldn't care less about these other 2 stories in this compilation, which is a shame, but there we go. I just could not care less. I enjoy her fairy tales, and I don't think I enjoy anything else that she's done so far that I know. I will keep the book, but I am not going to read anything else in this compilation. The Golem and the Jinni by Helene Wecker. No, thank you. This starts with a man paying another man to create a woman golem who looks and can pass for a woman, and they started talking about how appealing she should be and what her temperament should be like, and I just got the ick real bad. Oh, okay. Real bad, and I don't want to push myself through a chunk. I realised that we follow the golem as a main character, and then she falls in love with a fire spirit, but I just know the concept's giving me the ick because she's basically just giving Clay sex doll, which is gross. Death of a Bookseller. No. This was giving me the ick because it kept using, like, referencing modern things. Like, it referenced Zara, and it referenced Starbucks, and it referenced, like, lots of modern day brands and, like, pop culture-y things. and I realised it's a contemporary book. It's like a contemporary true crime, it's not true crime, but like crime mystery situation, and I didn't like it. I just didn't really vibe with the writing. I'm not going to enjoy a full book. And as nice and shiny as the pink end bits are, it's also a bit shit that it doesn't have a dust jacket. Like, I did only pay £1 for it, but no, I can do better. I'm not interested. Alanna, Song of the Huntress. This is another situation like The Falconer. I have read this before. I was going to try and reread it. This is too young for me now. I think I've missed my window where this is going to hit the same as it did when I read it the first time, which is a shame. I will keep the book for nostalgia's sake, but I will not be rereading this again. And then finally, Five Broken Blades by Meg Corland. I read the first chapter in its entirety, and I was so underwhelmed. It read like literally any other book by an amateur author. Really simple, basic prose, stereotypical setting, stereotypical speech, and also in like a weird London-y kind of accent, like using ain't and don't in the wrong, like in ungrammatical ways, in the way that someone with a London accent would, even though there's a bit in the beginning that says it's heavily inspired by Korea. So that threw me off a little bit, but it was just a bit icky. I've heard people complain about the fact that it's written in first person present tense, which I didn't think was going to throw me off because I have read books in that tense before, but it just doesn't work. And there was also a whole bunch of trigger warnings in the beginning that makes it seem like this book is going to get really, really dark, and I don't need to do that to myself. It's also, what I didn't realise when I bought this book, it's a Red Tower book, the same guys that did Fourth Wing. Now, I've not read Fourth Wing or Iron Flame, but what I've heard about Iron Flame and the quality of the publishing that Red Tower Books is producing, I have no wish to push myself through this book, which is a shame because it was a really cool premise. So yeah, great clear out of my TBR. That's a lot fresher, and now I'm much more excited for the books that I still have, which was the goal of this video. So pat on the back, gold star for me. I'm gonna go put these books away and list the other ones on Vinted if I'm not keeping them. So thanks very much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of the books that I've decided not to read, and if there's any reason I should maybe give them another chance, or if you've seen any that I'm keeping, and if there are any reasons that I should be particularly excited to read them and should maybe bump them to the top of my list. Let me know. Give this video a like if you liked it, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, because that's how you get my videos and my face straight to your subscription page, and it lets YouTube know that you like it and shows me to other people as well, which is helpful for me. So thank you very much. I will see you next Sunday.